A long time ago, in a small village named Oki, there lived a beautiful girl named Omo. Omo was stunningly beautiful, with a smile that lit up the room and eyes that shined like gold. Her hair was long and silky. Her figure was perfectly shaped, graceful and elegant, with a curve that were just right. She moved so smoothly and effortlessly that everyone around her couldn't help but admire her. But that was not all that she was. Omo possessed bravery that seemed almost superhuman. No obstacle was too daunting for her. Her bravery was so extraordinary that it felt like she could conquer anything that came her way. Omo was the oldest of four sisters. All her sisters were married except her. Omo was undoubtedly one of the most beautiful women in the village. Her beauty and bravery caught the eyes of many men in Oke. She had a lot of marriage proposals, but Omo turned them down because of what her mother Itwa went through in her marriage. So Omo made up her mind not to make the same mistake as her mother, who married into the wrong family. Many years passed. Omo was still unmarried. People in the village began to mock her and her mother, saying that she might have been cursed by a spirit husband. But this did not move Omo. Her mother Itwa was very worried because all her mates were already married and even done giving birth. Itwa had to do something as she thought her daughter was not getting any younger. One day, when Omo was coming back from the market, she encountered some thieves. Omo defended herself. She fought back so that they did not succeed in taking her money. But her strength weakened as she was outnumbered. Soon she fell on the ground. Just when they were about to take her money, a young man came from the bush and attacked them, scaring the thieves away. Omo was still too weak, so he took her home to her mother. Later that day, he came to visit Omo and found out that she was stronger. Omo thanked him and asked him for his name. His name was Udo. Udo had the kind of chiseled features that seemed sculpted by the gods. His dark, expressive eyes had a mesmerizing intensity, capable of drawing anyone in with just a natural glance. Udo moved with grace and confidence that made it seem as though the very ground was honored to support his steps, embodying the proud and vibrant spirit of a true African man. He was the only son of his widowed mother. He was visiting his farm when he saw the incident. Ever since that day, Omon and Udo became very good friends. Not too long, Udo developed feelings for Omo and asked her to be his wife. Omo refused at first, but Udo was patient with her and he remained her friend. When Itwa, Omo's mother, found out that she had rejected Udo's proposal, she was heartbroken because Udo was a good man, and so she came up with an idea. She pretended to be dying and made Omo promise to marry Udo before the next two market day. Omo, touched by her mother's condition, promised her and accepted Udo's proposal. Not too long, her mother became well, but it was too late to turn back as the promise has already been made, and Omo had to accept Udo's proposal. On the agreed date, Omo and Udo got married and they began to live together as husband and wife. Omo helped Udo to expand his wealth. She would sell the harvest from the farm herself instead of selling it to the market women at wholesale prices. Not too long, Udo's farm expanded, surpassing that of his competitors, and they became richer. Udo would shower Omo with gifts, even when there was no occasion. All was well until one day, Udo's mother Akube moved in with them. Akube Akube had always wanted to move in with them, but Udo refused because he wanted to live a very peaceful life with his wife. But he knew that would not be possible because his mother did not like Omo. Udo tried all he could to keep his mother away from his wife, but she showed up unannounced after her heart went ablaze. Omo was so happy to see her mother-in-law. She welcomed her warmly, gave her some food and shelter. Akube never wanted Udo to marry Omo because of the hatred she had for Itwa. It turned out to be that Akube and Omo's father were lovers in their youth. But Omo's father ended up marrying Itwa, which broke Akube's heart, and she never forgave Itwa for marrying the love of her life. Akube transferred the hatred to Omo and vowed to make her life miserable. Akube was a very diabolic woman. She used all sorts of dark powers. One of the reasons Udo stayed away from her. Udo was uncomfortable with the idea of his mother staying in their house. He suggested that she should go and live with one of her sisters, but Akube refused. Omo tried to talk him out of the idea, but Udo's mind was made up because of the kind of woman his mother was. Not too long, Akube began to show her true character. She rejected Omo's food and made her run all sorts of errands for her. And when Udo came home, she would lie that Omo had been disrespectful to her. Udo paid no attention because he knew the kind of woman his mother was. One day, when Udo returned from work earlier than usual, he saw Omo sadly washing a huge pile of clothes. It was his mother's clothes, both clean and dirty. Udo was angry. He told Omo to go inside and asked one of the servants to continue from where she stopped. Akube was angry. She confronted Udo, but Udo warned her never to treat Omo like a maid ever again. Akube was bitter. So she has succeeded in bewitching you. I will teach that witch a lesson, Akube said angrily to Udo. Udo asked Omo why she never complained about his mother to him. But Omo told him that she did not want him to have an issue with his mother. The next day, Udo started making preparation for his mother's hut to be rebuilt. Akube was not happy as she would not be able to torment Omo again. But Udo did not care. It did not take long. The hut was built. The night Akube was to leave, she overheard Omo and Udo celebrating. It turned out to be that Omo was pregnant. Akube was not happy because she never wanted Omo to have a successful marriage, not knowing she was also hurting her son. That night, she came up with a big excuse so that she wouldn't have to leave the house the next morning. Akube pretended to be very sick. When Omo and Udo saw her, they felt pity for her and let her stay in the house. But this was just a distraction to buy her some time. When Omo and Udo left the house, Akube went to see a powerful juju man who gave her some charms to ruin Omo's life. The charm was to make Omo lose her pregnancy and make Udo hate her. Akube did as instructed by the juju man. She put it in their food. Udo ate everything, but due to the early pregnancy symptom, Omo began to vomit and she lost her appetite. In order not to annoy her mother-in-law, she gave the food to her maid to eat. But luckily, nothing happened to the maid. The next day, Udo began to act strange. He began to abuse Omo, calling her a witch. Omo was shocked at the sudden change of character. Akube was happy, and she constantly accused her of being a witch. Finally, the spell had been broken, and my son is free from your witchcraft, Akube said to Omo. Omo would cry every day and night. Soon, the news spread around the village. And when Itwa heard about Udo's behavior, she came and took Omo away from the house. Akube was happy. She thought she had succeeded, not knowing Omo was still pregnant. When Omo and her mother got home, she narrated everything to her. Itwa was shocked because she knew Udo to be a good man. The sudden change is not ordinary. Omo, I think Akube had a hand in this. But I will not allow you to go back to that house, as it might be too dangerous considering you are pregnant. It was said to Omo as she encouraged her to stay strong. Omo and her mother continued to live together while Akube took over her home. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. Omo gave birth to a bouncy baby boy. Akube was shocked to hear the news, but still neither her or Udo came to visit Omo. Rather, she chose a girl from the village and asked Udo to marry her. When Omo and Itwa heard about the wedding preparation, they were heartbroken. Over my dead body will I stand and watch a fellow woman destroy my daughter's home. I must find a solution to this madness, Itwa said to Omo. That day, Itwa went to see the king. She fell on the floor and began to narrate everything. Fortunately, the chief priest was in the palace. He confirmed that truly Udo was under a spell. The chief priest asked Omo and Itwa to take him to Udo. When they got there, they met Udo and Akube. They were shocked. Immediately, the chief priest went round the house, made some sacrifices and incantations. Shortly after, all the charms in the house were destroyed. Udo immediately realized that he was under a spell. Akube fell down and she became paralyzed. The chief priest asked them to take her far away from their home, as she was consumed by evil. Days later, she died. Omo and Itwa narrated everything to Udo, as he had no knowledge of what had happened. They thanked the chief priest for his help. Udo was so happy to see his son. You mean you had our child, and I never came to visit? Udo said to Omo as he apologized for everything that had happened. He thanked his mother-in-law and took his wife and son home, where they lived happily ever after. This is the end of this story. Thank you for listening to this story. If you want us to make more videos, hit on the like and subscribe button. And do not forget to share this video, as people may learn a lot from it. We love and appreciate you. Bye.